It's that time again. You know what it is. It's what's going on with Nate Brown Jr. and the crew. This is The Experience here on Fox Sports 1280 iHeartRadio, themainradio.com. That's TheManeRadio.com, and the Ryan Show. And we got the crew in the building today. What up, Ryan?
Feels good to be here, man. It is good to be here. Your ride or die, your right hand man. Even though I'm a Yankee fan, I know it makes you sick to your stomach, Nate.
That's how I do. At least you don't like Trump. We good with that. So we good. we got my man, the infamous Amadeuz. What up, Amadeuz?
What's up? That's a classic. Every time someone introduces me, they always say that song. The Amadeuz.
You gotta do it because you gotta rock me Amadeuz. I mean, back in the day when I was young, I could cut a rug. That came on some Trent, Europe, Express. You have to mix. Amadeuz, Trent, Europe, Express. Amadeuz. I see. You have to mix it.
Did you have that on a 45?
No, but I had all that stuff, dude. I had the 45, the 78s, the 8-track. You name it, your man had it. The LPs. I was in it to win it, man. Music is my life. It's a recording by Gary. I think it's called Gary Bartz. It's called Music is My Sanctuary. And I love music. I love jazz. I love, R&B, hip hop, reggae. I could even rock out on some country and some blues. Playboy, come on, man.
Nice. That makes 3 of us. We all have a personal relationship with music.
Well, that makes 2, except for the country part. I can't take credit for liking country music, but the rest of it, besides Willie Nelson, I agree with Nick.
But no, check it out. I was in Mississippi. This is a true story, infamous. I was in Mississippi, and I take the kids to this hall, and we had to listen to like some bluegrass. And at first, I was like tripping. And then I saw these cats with the little washboard, and then they came up with some buckwheat Zydeco. I was like into it. I was like, yo, this kind of.
One of my favorite things to do is that bluegrass that you speak of, Nate. When they do those dances, you put some drill music in the background, so it looks like they're dancing to the Brooklyn drill music. Have you seen this? And they're doing the country dances, and they're doing sturdy.
I've seen it. Actually, one time last summer, I DJ'd a wedding, and they had a whole bluegrass segment in the wedding. So instead of a traditional dance, they were bluegrassing in real time at the wedding with tuxes and dresses on.
They were clogging their asses off, wasn't it?
Going crazy.
Okay.
And some of them had the audacity to do it in Crocs. They were switching their heels and putting Crocs on.
That's what I'm saying. No, dude. That's some like traditional. When I tell you, man, it's so interesting when you understand other folks' tradition and you kind of get into it and you see how we're all alike, especially when it comes to music and art and dance. All those things are universal and germane. Speaking of universal and germane, I got to do this quick back sell. I need you, Ryan, and both you Infadeus to help me out. October 8th, they're doing the walk for Alzheimer's here in Rochester at Frontier Field, fellas, the baseball field that the Red Wings play for. So we're going to be walking for 3 miles for dementia and Alzheimer's. Our goal as what's going on, the experience, and the crew is $5,000. We got to raise 5 G's towards that goal, Ryan. And I'm excited because this is kind of like dear to my heart because my mom got dementia. And a lot of people really, if they listen to the sound of my voice, a lot of the relatives, aunts, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers, mothers, fathers, they be battling with dementia and Alzheimer's. Yeah. So we want to call attention to that here, Ryan, and Infamous on Fox Sports here on 1280 and what's going on. And we're going to be doing that for the next whatever weeks we do, go up until the 8th. But we need to reach $5,000 for these folks. And I told them I'm all in it to win it. And I said Ryan is on it like the Green Hornet. And I said the Infamous gonna make it happen, Captain. So we're gonna do what we're gonna make it do, gentlemen. And I need your help.
I believe we can. 5,000. That's a very doable number. We have very generous listeners here at Fox Sports 1280.
So once I give you guys the link and everything, and Ryan, I'd like for you to be here at the October 8th. You too, Inf. Come on up, and I'm gonna try to talk them into having you be the DJ.
Oh, that's what we need, man. We need some good old music up there, man.
That's what I'm saying, because I got a little insight, Ryan. So I'm gonna try to get them to reach out to Inphamus. I get your number. If we're gonna call you, see if we can get you to come and be the DJ. Because, like I said, it's right at the Frontier Field. It's gonna be having games, back to school stuff for the kids, all kind of stuff to call attention to this deadly disease, dementia, and Alzheimer's.
Get the bluegrass ready, Inf.
Let's go. I was ready. It's locked and loaded right in the Serato.
Speaking of ready, man, Inphamus. How ready are the METS, the Mets? How ready are the METS Mets?
Man, the Mets are definitely ready, man. I think we showed a lot to our fellow National League competitors and the AL with that performance, taking 2 out of 3 from the Braves, right? And, guys are feeling shaky. Waiting on DeGrom. I don't know how much of a contribution DeGrom is going to be long term. And there's a lot of talk about him actually opting out of his contract. So we'll get some focus on that. But I mean, every team has holes. The Mets do have some holes. We do need a DH. We potentially need a new catcher. And we definitely need some bullpen help. So hopefully this next 5 days that the Mets will be off, we can reorganize and see what's actually out there on the trade market. And when the Mets are looking at the trades, the number one thing is we need to not trade people in our farm system. I believe that this year we have 5 first-round picks, right? And we'll probably never have it again if we're competing at a high level of baseball. We traded this guy, Crow Armstrong. I forgot what trade it was. I think it was in the Javi Baez trade. He's over there killing it right now, like destroying it right now, right? So we lost a high-ranking pick, but we're going to have 5 first-round picks this year. And, man, cash considerations, okay? Steve Cohen is the owner. Cash considerations. That needs to be our focus.
Now, just quickly. Now, I kind of like Dom Smith, but the guy can't hit his way out of a paper bag. I'm sorry. I mean, he's a nice guy, but dude, when we need you to come up there and do what you got to get, I was just watching those few games against the Braves. Mets is like notoriously. I mean, they won 2 out of 3, but just leaving men on base. And I know Buck got to be like, yo, dude, man, at least put the ball in play. Give me something. Give me a fly ball. Don't put the ball on the ground, man. So. You're right. The Mets need just that little oomph to get them to the next level, D.
Yeah.
What do you think about them giving up Robinson Cano like that? The Braves picking him up and then him taking the field with his Mets glove on. Do you think that was some type of a statement there by Cano or what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a snub by Cano and also the Braves, but it backfired. I mean, they still lost 2 out of 3 games, right? So, it didn't work. As far as Dominic Smith goes, I personally believe the Dominic Smith experiment and J.D. Davis experiment needs to be over, okay? Alonso is a full-fledged first baseman. There's no need to even play with this guy anymore, right? He leads the league in RBIs. He's crushing home runs. Apparently, I guess MLB must have done something with the baseball situation. They inserted all these new baseballs. Balls were dying in center field, left field. Now things are getting hit out the park. So we need to use Dom Smith, Davis, and in my personal opinion, even Escobar to a certain extent. I mean, Escobar is a great a glove on the field. I personally like McNeil better, and I like our second baseman.
His bat don't work for me, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't. So we have what's the second baseman? Luis Guillermo, right? And this guy is amazing. Watching him and Lindor up the middle gives you like this type of vibe, almost like vintage Cleveland with Vizquel and Baerga up the middle.
Yeah.
Right? We need those 2 guys up the middle. Stick McNeil at third. Stop jumping them around. Take Escobar. Trade one bad contract for another. There's a bunch of guys out there. I would send Escobar over to the Nationals and get Bell and Cruz personally. Give one big league for the other. And then Dominic Smith, I mean, you could linger him around for maybe some pitching help. Because we do need pitching. Obviously, we saw Scherzer get hurt, and DeGrom is still a question. Taijuan Walker, he's been amazing. Peterson's been amazing. But listen, if you want to go to the playoffs, if you want to make it all the way to the big ticket World Series, if you want that ticket tape parade in New York City, pitching and defense wins, period.
Well, we all know pitching and defense wins, but at the end of the day, is Steve Cohen willing to go out there and spend the paper? Because you got to pay the cost to be the boss at the end of the day, right? So that's one thing about, and we'll talk about this off mic. You were saying about, your issue with the Yankees. They would go and get the people money-wise that they need to go over to get over the hump. So does Steve Cohen need to take a page, Ryan, out of your Yankees book?
Oh, yeah, and he's doing so. I will tip my hat to the new owner of the Mets for doing just that, Steve Cohen. And it's his personality type. You need to be a savage and a psycho. You need to be a Steinbrenner. I feel like Cohen is going to be synonymous with that same passionate mentality that Steinbrenner had to really turn that entire organization around. I think that it really begins at the top, and you guys got a great guy owning the team now.
Yeah.
So Inphamus, quickly, before we end this first segment, as we roll into All-Star break, and we'll come back and talk about the Yankees, right? It seems that they got the, Cincinnati took 2 out of 3 from them. Are they cooling off? Or are they coming down to earth?
Who, Yankees?
Yeah.
I do think that at the end of the season, the Yankees will have the most wins in MLB. The question is, it's all math, right? It's all math, and we can learn a lot from history, right? How many teams have won the most games in the 162-game season and have actually won the World Series?
Right.
We had the Seattle Mariners win 116 games. I mean, I don't really think that we've seen any team besides the early Giants where they would win like 110, 4 games and go all the way to the World Series, right? And actually win the World Series. So I think that's my concern. The Yankee fans should be concerned with the way they played against the Astros. That is a team that's chasing in the AL.
Okay. All right. Hey,
the Astros are looking good. That definitely does make sense what you're saying about the Yankees, and they are kind of coming back to earth. You look at Nestor Cortez. He seems to be returning back to his, not like he's bad or anything. He's now, doing great. Anybody see that windmill, by the way? That windmill pitch that he's throwing now? Is that a balk or what? I'm still confused by that. I don't know how that's legal, but I love it.
Yeah. It's a bulk, but again, in a high pressure situation, remember when you're on top, you're playing comfortably, right? How do those theatrics translate in Game 7 of the World Series?
And speaking of Game 7, when we come back, we're going to talk about, can Matt Scherzer get the Mets at least in the playoffs and beyond? You listen to what's going on, the experience here on Fox Sports 1280 with the crew. And don't forget Alzheimer's ALZ, The Walk over in Frontier Field, October 8th. Go online. Brian will have some information for you. We got to raise 5 G's, people. Don't be cheap. Come on, man. Don't be cheap. We need it. 5. And we're gonna get Inphamus to be playing some tunes for you at Frontier Field. We're gonna make this happen, Cap.
This bluegrass DJ out there. Let's go.
Exactly. We'll be right back. Don't go no place. Oh man, we are back, and this is what's going on. The experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and iHeartRadio. I'm your host of the show, Nate Brown Jr. We got the crew in the building, the Inphamus Amadeuz, and we got my man Ryan V out of NYC. And before we left, we were chopping it up about baseball and what's happening with the local teams, the Mets and the Yankees. Now, Max Scherzer is back from the oblique injury, I guess it was. And I'm actually gave him a good outing the last time I watched it. And so they got Jacob deGrom coming back, as we were talking about. So how's that going to work out in the second part of the season?
I mean, listen, we paid $43 million a year for this pitcher. He still has a 5-6-1 record, ERA under 3, I believe. So, I mean, he is performing the way that he needs to perform. But let's not forget, he's 38, 39 years old. But this guy is a bulldog. He's not doing the Jacob deGrom route, pitching against little leaguers trying to rehab. 2 starts. He doesn't want to be a Binghamton. He's back on the mound. And Max Scherzer is a threat. He's been a threat for 20 years. He's the guy. He is our version of Justin Verlander. Okay? Oh. Justin Verlander is still a beast. He is that guy. So all of our Met fans, we are all excited to see Max Scherzer back on the mound. But again, we do need another pitcher. And to be honest, I'm not sure if deGrom is that guy. He's been hurt. I love him.
Yeah, he's been hurt. He hasn't showed up. But speaking of being hurt, who's the biggest snub from the All-Star game? Who are those guys? Who are the hurt guys?
We got to look at who got selected to really know who got stubbed.
Oh, well, Ryan, you got who got? Because I got who got snubbed over here.
I got those that have been elected and those that have gotten stubbed. And like you said, there are quite a lot of snubs. But I look at this list. And some of these names might not belong. Look at the American League starters. We got Alejandro Kirk at catcher, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base. That's a questionable one, considering how nice our first baseman in Seattle is. We got Altuve at second, Rafael Devers, or if I'm saying that right, our lovely third baseman out of Boston, Tim Anderson at shortstop, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, and Giancarlo Stanton in the outfield, and Shohei Ohtani as the DH.
Well, you mean to tell me Shohei Ohtani ain't pitching and playing all the damn positions at the same time?
No.
He's a Jedi. You might as well let that brother pitch, catch, because I'm telling you, before I get out of here, I got to see that guy play, Infamous. Yes. I got to see Shohei Ohtani play. Before I leave this planet, I got to see that cat play.
So of those names, though, gentlemen, is there anybody that doesn't belong? Is there a position that should have been filled by somebody else, the American League?
Personally, I don't even know half those cats other than Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, honestly, Guerrero, I mean, he slugs. And
he
slugs. The third baseman from Boston, he also slugs too. The All-Star game since its inception has always been a popularity contest, right?
Right.
It's always been a popularity contest. The problem here with just New York culture in general, this is a similar situation that's happened in hip-hop where New York radio DJs are not supporting New York artists. It's the same thing in baseball. There are 8.5 million people in New York City, and when that ballot comes, you are supposed to select any recognizable Mets and Yankees name, period. And then if you want to go around the league, you want to vote for this guy, that guy. Why isn't Lindor an all-star? Period.
Yep. Seriously, why is it Francisco?
Why isn't Nimmo a reserve? Why do we have 4 reserves? And we're the top team in the National League. Why?
Because you Mets fans are lousy. See, us Yankees, we put Giancarlo Stanton exactly where he belongs, if you were to ask a Yankee fan.
Correct. No. Mets fans have some explaining to do, but so do Yankee fans because we all are New Yorkers at the end of the day. And
but that's what I'm saying to me. So how big of a baseball town is New York? Let's say it like that. Is it a generational thing? Is it a thing where baseball just don't have the swagger like basketball and football? I mean, let's be honest, because of the big 3, they the third tier. Okay, you would probably go football in terms of the most watched, but basketball is the one that everybody kind of gravitates to, and then it's baseball. Baseball to me is like maybe an afterthought. What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's like you said, it's the fact that there's not as much flashy activity going on in baseball, maybe. There's not as much attitude being shown. We think about Mike Trout as the best player in the last 10 years. Nobody even knows what the guy looks like. So it's deeper than just New York. But when it comes to these snubs,
the guys you had on the team, honestly, I follow baseball. Some of those guys, it's like I really don't even know that.
Listen, New York City is a winning town, and no baseball team has brought a championship to New York City since 2009.
Wait, time out. Is it a winning town though, Imp? At this point, is New York really a winning town? When we haven't won a professional championship in God knows how long? When it was, like you said, I think it was the New York Yankees.
Think about it. The Knicks ain't win nothing. The Mets ain't win nothing. The Jets ain't win nothing. The Yankees ain't win nothing. Who else I got?
The Giants, but that's technically New Jersey. Let's be honest here. They're not playing in New York City.
What about the Rangers and the Islanders?
They're not winning anything either.
So, I mean, that's a good question, Ryan. Is New York City a winning town at the present moment? And for me, the answer is no. We're posing. No. We're faking jacks. We're trying to get over the hump.
In anything at all, like if mentions New York music, New York hip hop, where it all started from, the actual Mecca. Is it winning in hip hop? Absolutely not.
New York doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
And this is just the reality, and this is literally New York's fault for the egotistical, cocky attitude that we've had since the 1880s. Right?
And maybe it's that there's not many New Yorkers left. Like real deal New Yorkers moved down south. And we're filled, Manhattan is filled with Midwestern kids, like the Bodega Boys. You know what I'm talking about, Imp?
Well, I'm going to have to say this, and they might be mad at me, but I'm from the South Bronx. And every other corner I see livery, I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? If you don't know what livery is, Imp, tell them what it is. It's like that live grub. Go in there and get the bad boy chopped up. That never was like that when I grew up. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a whole new vibe. It's a whole new culture. The New York that I knew, it ain't there no more. I mean, not the one that I remember. Okay, so you're absolutely correct. It's a lot more foreign-based. It's a lot more segregated. Okay, it really is. And at the end of the day, the rent is so damn high. people are just trying to get by.
And
The rent is
facts.
exorbitant in New York. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, they are outpricing people in the Bronx. When the hell did the Bronx get $2,000 for a 1-bedroom? The boogie down.
No, it's ridiculous. The apartment that I lived in the Bronx before I came to Pennsylvania was $1,500. That same apartment is $2,700 now.
Wow,
that's my point.
And that's in 4 years. So I mean, they priced us out of the Big Apple.
It's not because of the Yankees either.
No, but the point I'm making to Imp has a point. You cannot afford probably in the next 5 or 10 years, probably even sooner, to live in New York. And if you ain't making $200,000, it's a wrap. And I say that affectionately. That's like, and that ain't on the high. If you ain't making $200,000, you ain't living in New York. So
then the question becomes, how does LA remain with their culture? I mean, gas is $9. A studio apartment is, $3,000. They got Ohtani going crazy. They got the Lakers, balling. I mean, they got all these different avenues going on. So, how do we repair this when other cities are still keeping their swagger?
Well, because LA and Cali is sunshine, blue skies. This bad boy is gray as all giddy up. It's gray, It's like, hold up, I got a phobia on the 95. It's like tons of damn freaking truckers. It's ridiculous. I was in New York last week for my mom's 87th birthday. And I was like, it was cool. Mom's, doing well. She got the dementia, but she's doing well. We had a great party for her. But New York, I was ready to leave after the party. It's just too many people. Just like you live in Pennsylvania. Right, you live, in the island over there. In the city, they like on top of each other.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, literally on top of each other. I mean, literally. And I get like anxiety, like, damn, I can't handle this. This is too much.
It smells like California now. I will say that. New York smells a lot more like LA now, at least according to our mayor.
And this is all happening when New York City lost 5 million people in COVID.
Yep. That's crazy.
And God knows how many stopped going to work, literally to stop leaving their apartments. We talked about it this week on the Ryan Show. Sorry to put the plug there, but it's true. About how mental illness is at an all-time high, not just in this country, but specifically New York City. It's like every other person is homeless or crazy. I fit in, finally.
No, and it's funny you said that because I met one of my colleagues from back in the day, one of my jobs. She said she don't even go outside like that no more. And I'm looking at her like, hell, I'm going outside. I'll be damned if I'm dying in the house. And I will be at Wegmans. Get me some fruit. Okay, I'm going outside. I just can't do it. There are people who, like you said, Ryan, if they don't even want to go outside. I'm talking about seniors, young folks. They don't want to go outside.
They wouldn't recognize it. What's the point of going outside if you're going to bump into somebody looking at their cell phone?
I mean, but it is a different time, and New York culture has changed, and as many people left New York, this many amount of people came in, right? So New York has always been a melting pot. This shouldn't surprise us. We've always seen this. We've seen this happening for years. I mean, when you walk down your local street in New York City, businesses are owned by people who are not from New York.
That's true.
In the South Bronx. Go down to South Bronx. You got Haitians, Africans, you got Dominican Republic, Puerto
Jamaicans. You're right. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans.
This should
You're
not
right.
surprise us.
You're right.
How many actual New Yorkers are actually left? We've been invaded.
The new York.
Yeah.
And Nate, I know that it's almost time for a break. We need to run these Fox Sports radio commercials, but I didn't get to give my snub shout out to Todd France.
Because I'm going to give you this.
My name is Todd France, Nate. Huh? First baseman, Seattle Mariners, Ty France. He's playing better than Vlad this year. Potential MVP candidate. I'm surprised he got left off. Higher batting average, on base percentage. And maybe they're saying that he didn't play for enough of the year, but he's got 328 plate appearances.
But you mentioned Josh Bell, first baseman of the Nationals.
Correct.
Huge.
That guy. Now I know why you want him. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. He ranks third amongst National League teams. Okay. So you're right. This guy is pretty darn good, man.
And he didn't even make the All-Star team. That might be the second or third biggest snub this year.
And what about Oscar Riley and from the Braves?
Austin Riley? Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huge snub.
They snubbed him. I'm like, damn. Now these guys I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah,
These guys I know.
26 home runs before the All-Star break, and he's not an All-Star. That doesn't make any sense at all. I guess people are just still mesmerized by Nolan Arenado's first few weeks, but he's kind of cooled off.
And what about Will Smith, the catcher? I ain't talking about the guy that got. I ain't talking about the pimp slapping Will Smith, the catcher.
Another snub.
Yeah, that's. I'm trying to see who got elected in the National League. I mean, no, the guy from Chicago, Contreras, who's going to be a Met by the trade deadline.
I got one that's going to get under your skin a little bit, boys.
We're going to see Contreras. Doubleheader. Last time you're going to see this guy in a Chicago Cubs uniform because he's coming over to the Mets.
Okay.
I'm going to list here before we go to break, the starting pitchers for the NL, and tell me who's missing, guys. As Mets fans, tell me who's missing. We got Sandy Alcantara from Miami. We've got Corbin Burns from Milwaukee, Joe Musgrove from San Diego, Max Fried from Atlanta, who, by the way, was doing great against the Mets. We got Tony Gonzalez from the LA Dodgers, Luis Castillo from Cincinnati, Clayton Kershaw, who almost pitched that perfect game the other night, and Carlos Rodon from San Francisco. But who is missing from those starters? He's an ex-Met, somebody that shouldn't have gotten away from New York. And he's arguably...
in my opinion, Taijuan Walker should be there.
That's another good one.
I mean, he's like, what, 8-2?
Okay.
Like, why is Diaz the only person on here from the Mets? That just...
Finally, though, that must feel good to see Diaz finally an All-Star, or playing well, I should say. But I'll say this, Zach Wheeler, who was he almost won the Cy Young Award last year. He came in second last year. If you look and break down all of these little statistics.
Got rid of Zach Wheeler either.
He's unbelievable.
I think there was some issues. I mean, you got to remember, we had Noah Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, we had Matt Harvey, right? And I'm missing two other pitchers, right? We have Steven Matson, was one other person. While we had that rotation, that 5-man rotation, there was only one time they all pitched consecutively.
Mm-hmm.
In like a 5-year span.
Yeah, you're right.
This is why Wheeler wasn't around. And the reality is that New York, regardless of all the stuff that we spoke about, New York is a very hard place to play.
Yeah.
It is. It's not easy to play in New York. So guys like Wheeler and Matt Harvey and, you know, there's been multiple guys on the Yankees, you know, it's hard to perform here.
Well, that's why our boy Lindor got up to a slow start, and now he's okay painting his coloring his hair purple, gray, blue. I don't care. But as long as you hit Lindor, I don't really care. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about who cares where Kevin Durant goes? Who cares where Kyrie Irving goes? All I know is the Knicks better not give up the farm for Donovan Mitchell. I'll come looking for him. We'll be right back. Don't give up the farm. Not for Donovan Mitchell. You can't do it. Fox Sports 1280. Don't do it.